Imagine flying at 540 knots, barely 50 feet above enemy territory, where every heartbeat could be your last. Around you, a network of radar beams, heat sensors, and missile batteries come alive in a deadly search. These systems, silent, invisible, relentless, are designed specifically to hunt those like you, stealth jets that vanish from sight. But how do these air defenses actually find, track, and try to destroy the world's most advanced aircraft? And how do pilots survive such an invisible, high-speed hunt? Welcome to the realm of modern air defense systems, a deadly chess game of radar waves, electronic signals, and split-second decisions. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on these complex networks, showing you how layered defenses work together to hunt even the stealthiest jets, and what tactics pilots use to slip through their grasp. To understand this, we must first step back and look at how air defense has evolved. Since the dawn of aviation, each advancement in aircraft stealth and speed has been met by increasingly sophisticated detection and missile technology. From basic lookout posts to today's integrated radar and missile systems, the battlefield above is a high-tech cat-and-mouse game. Modern air defense systems do not rely on a single radar or missile battery. Instead, they layer multiple sensor types across different frequencies and technologies, covering every angle and frequency band. One key player in this is the VHF radar system, such as the Soviet-era P-18 spoon rest radar, operating between 150 and 170 MHz. The long wavelengths generated by these radars can penetrate natural terrain features, like mountains and forests, far better than higher frequency systems. Think of them like a bass-heavy radio that can be heard through walls, unlike a high-pitched voice that is easily blocked. This makes VHF radars critical for detecting stealth aircraft flying low, hiding behind hills, or weaving through obstacles. Complementing VHF radars are higher frequency radars, operating in the X-band or S-band. While these radars provide much greater resolution, searching wide swaths of airspace and guiding missile targeting, they are more prone to being fooled by terrain or stealth technology. Together, these radars create a layered defense. Slower but deeper scans from VHF systems, combined with the precision and tracking fire control radars that direct missile systems. When radars detect and track an aircraft, the next challenge is missile guidance. There are two major types: infrared, or heat-sinking missiles, and radar-guided missiles. Infrared-guided missiles home in on the heat signature, like the engine's exhaust. These are often passive, meaning they don't emit radar signals, making them silent hunters. Radar-guided missiles, on the other hand, rely on radar energy reflected from the target or command signals from ground controllers to home in. The Soviet 9M331 missile is a perfect example. It uses command guidance initially, with ground radar continuously updating the missile's path towards the target before switching to infrared homing during the terminal phase. Pilots counter heat-sinking missiles with flares, tiny burning decoys that mimic their jet's heat signature, and chaff, clouds of metallic strips that confuse radar-guided missiles. But the game changes completely with electronic warfare. Systems like the Russian Kasuga-4 can jam GPS satellites and radar frequencies, disrupting pilot navigation and missile targeting. For instance, if a guided bomb relies heavily on GPS for accuracy, jamming the signal might mean the difference between hitting a radar station squarely or missing by hundreds of meters. This is why modern weapons also incorporate inertial navigation systems that can operate independently of GPS for short periods, using gyroscopes to track movement. The real battlefield reveals itself in combat scenarios: jets darting low, weaving around power lines, hiding behind terrain to break radar line of sight every few seconds. Each missile launch lights up the sky, smoke trails corkscrewing upwards as active threads close in from multiple vectors. Every evasive maneuver burns precious fuel, forcing pilots to decide between survival and mission completion. Radars don't just passively search, they actively track. Search radars rotate like lighthouses, sweeping broad areas, while track radars lock onto targets like spotlights, feeding missile guidance with updated trajectories. An experienced SAM operator can switch radars between search and track modes, carefully timing missile launches for maximum effect. Pilots employ tactics such as notch filtering, turning perpendicular to radar beams to exploit Doppler radar blind spots, and Doppler notching, which uses ground clutter to hide their velocity signatures. However, these maneuvers sometimes cost precious time and fuel, forcing pilots off their optimal flight paths. As missile systems track and fire, pilots might face layered air defenses, the tracking dogs that flush them out, followed by attack dogs that unleash missile salvos. Newer system arrays, like the electronically steered Tor M2 radar, can track dozens of targets simultaneously and engage multiple missiles at once, creating lethal kill zones. Now imagine the pilot as this missile's target climbs rapidly into the sky, using a high-speed yo-yo maneuver that converts horizontal speed into altitude, aiming to drop a precision-guided bomb accurately. But even at the edge of stall speed with a missile closing in, the pilot must maintain stable flight for clean weapon release. Behind the scenes, electronic warfare intensifies. Radar threat receivers scream warnings, GPS signals flicker then disappear, and the jet's chaff dispensers fire clouds of radar reflective strips. The pilot rolls inverted, starts a split-S dive, disappearing from radar by using Doppler shifts and braking locks. Despite damaging hits, engine failures, and hydraulic system loss, these aircraft are built to keep flying. Soviet-era designs emphasize redundancy. Multiple hydraulic systems, backup flight controls, and rugged airframes allow pilots to nurse damaged jets home, sometimes thousands of meters behind enemy lines. Meanwhile, the weapon released inches towards its target, a grain elevator turned enemy drone control center. The bomb drills the reinforced concrete with delayed detonation, unleashing immense firepower that collapses the structure in seconds, obliterating the enemy's capability. This is more than just a flight mission. It's a complex ballet of technology, tactics, and human skill against the backdrop of modern warfare's deadliest tools. As air defenses continue evolving with smarter radars, faster missiles, and advanced jamming, the challenge for stealth jets and their crews grows every day. But through tactics, technology, and sheer pilot courage, they continue to find ways to outfly the hunters. Thank you for joining this deep dive into the high-tech chase between air defense systems and stealth aircraft. If you enjoyed exploring this deadly game of cat and mouse, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more inside stories from modern combat aviation. What do you think is the future of air defense technology? Let us know in the comments below. Continuing the script to fill out the full 40-minute video time frame, let's expand the narration with more immersive details, examples, and explanations that maintain viewer engagement while diving deeper into the technical and tactical aspects described. Now that we've seen how detection and tracking unfold, let's look more closely at the types of missiles these air defense systems deploy, and why evading them is so challenging. Infrared or heat-seeking missiles are one of the oldest yet most deadliest threats. They lock onto the intense heat emitted by a jet's engine exhaust, making stealth and faking heat signatures critical for survival. These missiles can react in fractions of a second, requiring pilots to detect their launch quickly and respond instantly with flares or sharp evasive maneuvers. Radar-guided missiles, in contrast, rely on onboard radar or radar signals from ground stations to track their target. The missile's radar actively paints the jet, chasing the reflected radar waves. The pilot must deploy chaff, clouds of tiny metallic strips, to confuse radar seekers. However, modern missiles employ multiple sensors and advanced algorithms to filter out such countermeasures, increasing the difficulty of evasion. The command guidance of missiles, where the missile receives constant updates from ground radar, further complicates evasive efforts. Pilots can't simply break radar lock temporarily. The missile's flight path adjusts continuously based on fresh data, relentlessly tracking their movements. At the heart of this battle lies electronic warfare, a complex, invisible layer where opposing forces jam, deceive, and disrupt each other's sensors and communications. Russian systems like Kasuga-4 target GPS frequencies, specifically the L1 and L2 bands, crippling the satellite navigation vital for modern weapons precision. The impact is immense. A precision-guided bomb without GPS can veer off by tens of meters or more, turning a deadly strike into a near miss. But Ukrainian engineers have responded brilliantly, fitting their JDAMs with enhanced inertial navigation systems using ring laser gyroscopes. These devices track every tiny movement from release, allowing the weapon to navigate accurately even without satellite signals, maintaining lethal precision for the critical 2-minute glide. In the cockpit, the pilot's reliance on technology becomes a double-edged sword. Every system failure, every jammed GPS signal, every warning beep is a reminder of the razor's edge they walk. With radar altimeters screaming minimum altitude warnings and hydraulic failures compounding the challenge, the margin for error shrinks. We've touched briefly on evasive maneuvers, but it's worth exploring their complexity. High G turns, such as maximum brake turns, pulling 9 times the force of gravity,
are not just heart-stopping experiences, they physically crush the pilot into the seat, testing endurance and skill. These maneuvers force incoming missiles off their predicted path, causing overshoots. Yet each move burns fuel rapidly, forcing pilots to balance aggression with conservation. Terrain flying, especially nap-of-the-earth tactics, adds another layer of difficulty. Flying just 20 to 80 feet above the ground, pilots use natural features, hills, valleys, power line corridors to break radar line of sight, concealing their path from enemy radar. But flying this low at over 500 knots leaves almost no room for error. One misjudgment means catastrophic collision. Russian air defenses, recognizing these methods, adapt tactically. They use multiple missile launches from different vectors simultaneously to overwhelm pilots' options. They coordinate to guide SAM systems into deadly traps, using low-frequency VHF radars to flush the aircraft from cover and then engage with high-precision radars and missile batteries. The deployment of the Tour M2 system represents a leap in air defense capability. With electronically steered arrays, it can track and engage multiple targets simultaneously, at greater distances. For a pilot, flying into such a rapidly maturing threat envelope creates intense pressure. Every second counts. Meanwhile, the pilot's HUD, heads-up display, rapidly updates missile warnings, radar lock alerts, and altitude data. The SPO-15 radar warning receivers shift from the familiar weep-weep searching tone to a solid lock-on tone is a cue that missiles are inbound, triggering the pilot to execute precise split-second maneuvers. Despite all these challenges, jets like the MiG-29 possess extraordinary resilience. Designers anticipated the likelihood of battle damage. Triple redundancy in hydraulics, backup flight controls, and rugged airframes allow pilots to maintain enough control to return home even with significant system failures. This engineering toughness is crucial when every hit from 23mm autocannons or fragments from detonated missiles can degrade control. On the ground, the destruction wrought by precision weapons is staggering. The JDAM-ER, the extended-range joint attack munition, can glide over 40 miles, pinpointing critical enemy infrastructure from a safer distance. Impacting reinforced concrete support columns with devastating explosives, it causes a rapid collapse, rendering key enemy command and control centers useless. Secondary explosions from stored missiles and drone batteries magnify this effect, wiping out supply and operational nodes. Such strikes don't just destroy enemy materiel, they disrupt enemy coordination, buying precious space and time for advancing forces. It's a striking example of how technology amplifies strategic impact beyond sheer physical presence. Looking ahead, the landscape of air defense and stealth technology is set to evolve fast. Advances in multispectral radars, AI-driven missile guidance, hypersonic interceptors, and electronic warfare suites will push both defenders and attackers to innovate faster. The increasing role of drones and autonomous systems will add new dimensions to this high-stakes domain. For pilots flying these missions, the future demands a mix of cutting-edge technology, split-second decision-making, and unmatched courage. Every flight is a balance between the power of machines and the resilience of human skill. This high-stakes duel between hunter and hunted continues to define the skies in modern conflict zones. Every radar ping, every missile launch, and every evasive maneuver tells a story of survival, technology, and tactical brilliance. If you found this deep dive into modern air defense systems and stealth combat fascinating, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because next time we'll uncover how stealth technology itself is evolving to counter these ever-advancing defenses.